Good morning, kids. Oh my goodness. I was like watching stuff about the case that we're covering today, and I was like, oh shit. And then stuff wasn't working. So happy Sunday. I've missed all of you. Can you guys hear me? Can someone confirm that you can hear me? Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone? I see we have Drew K. Good morning, baby. And my Callie girl. Good morning, Callie. And Amy in the back seat. What's up, bitch? Okay, awesome. Thank you, Calypso. So I know it's early, but I have been deep, deep, deep in a case. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. I'm sure you have. This case gets to me kind of like almost they're different. It gives me Diddy, R. Kelly, Ted Bundy, gory vibes. Okay. Oh, hi. Good morning, mermaid in a wine glass. It's good to see you. There was there was a little girl, and I say little girl because that's exactly what she is. She's a little girl who ran away at the age of 13 from her home in California. And she hadn't been seen for 1 year. Her parents are illegal. They don't have documentation papers. They don't speak English. But there was a missing persons poster out for her back when she originally was running away from home. There's different reports saying that she either came from a good home or was kind of troubled. Who knows, right? Just because kids are running away doesn't mean that you necessarily come from a troubled home. It could just be you're a dumb kid. Oh, honey, you live out there, right? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, that's right. She's been missing. Yeah, she's been missing for a year, but definitely ran away from home. That's right. But she had been in her name is Celeste Rivas Hernandez. She was found on September 8th in the frunk of a Tesla in the Hollywood Hills. Now, I laugh out of disgust, really, because so many people failed this little girl. And I've been just like down the rabbit holes with like this case for a week because I've just been like absorbing it and trying to, good Lord. She was found in the front trunk of a Tesla in the Hollywood Hills. Now, it turns out that now I know that I see all of us here. We are all moms. And like we weren't online. Like I think like I'm 40 and we had like the AOL that we had to like dial up, and if someone called your house, you got kicked off type of thing. Yes. It's scary these days. And like my 5-year-old son plays Fortnite, and he plays because his cousins do, and he plays Roblox and he plays Minecraft and everything. And I know the unsafeties of it, but there's only so much that you can really like. I monitor them, but you don't really know. This young girl was part of a kind of like emo online group, and she followed a YouTube. Yeah, right. Yeah, the little man would come up and be like, "Bitch, bye." She followed a Fortniter who would like, I don't know. I watch my son watch these guys. Like it's weird how like kids watch other kids play stuff now. Like they don't just like go outside. They like watch other kids play games. I digress. So she was part of this Fortnite. The Tesla, it turns out, belongs to a young YouTuber who got famous by playing Fortnite on the YouTube streets, and he would have music in the background, like our homeboy Diddy or R. Kelly. And he kept getting, like, he was making a ton of money. He's from Texas, making a shit ton of money, and he started getting copyright stricken. So his mom said to him, he was complaining, he's like, my cash flow is not coming in, blah, 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 whatever. And so the mom, who was a school teacher, and I'll get to that in a second. The mom, who was a school teacher, said, why don't you just start making your own music and your own beats, and then play that in the back of you playing the Fortnite and go from there. Well, apparently he comes from a Pentecostal church, and as far as I know, like, I'm just a recovering Catholic, but from what I know, Pentecostals and everything, they're really into singing, and they sing all day on Sundays. And so it's not like far-fetched that this kid had like a good voice, which I didn't know who the fuck he was before this, and I'm glad, right? So he starts making music in his closet, and he starts putting it in behind him playing Fortnite on the YouTube streets. While he has a following of really young kids. At the time, I think he started when he was like 14. He moved from New York when he was 7 years old. His name is, I'm sorry, I didn't even say his name because I'm all fired up. His name is David Anthony Burke. Okay, he goes by David, D4vd. I think that's probably like his online name. And then he just like took it and said, hey, I'm David, when he got his music record. So his music deal. So he was born in New York to a litigation specialist and a public school teacher. And then they moved down to the Houston area of Texas, where his mother pulled him out of school and started homeschooling him. Well, now listen, I homeschooling, there's a lot of benefits to it or whatever, but I think this story kind of tells you why kids need to be socialized and be around people, and like need to like figure their world out without being home with no friends and whatever. So if you homeschool your kids, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about this instance. Okay. So he's at home. He doesn't go to school. All he is on is online. Okay. Yeah. Mermaid, there's a lot of benefits other than getting an education. You need to be socialized. Like, even my kid was born in 2020, and like I was able to get like 1/2 day of daycare. And I sent him on Tuesday mornings just to get him with other kids, because he's an only child, just like this kid. And he needed to be around people. People need people. Okay. I can isolate myself. I know I can, but at the end of the day, people need people. And this kid has straight said online, my community is online. My life is online. And it is. And it is. And I'm going to tell you why. So this kid, he's like 15, 16 years old. He's making beats in his closet. He's putting music, and his music starts ramping up, and people start really liking it. He does have a great voice. He, yeah, right. Mermaid, ain't that the truth? Facts. We were all kind of lit up here from that shutdown. Absolutely, Mermaid. So, all right, let me move forward. I'm going to show you actually what the little girl looks like. This right here is the little girl that went missing in this boy's trunk. Okay. She was unalived at 14. David is 20, almost 21 years old. Real fucking peach, right? So, Caden, turn that down, please. So David, started making music, started getting popular. He ended up getting a deal with Interscope Records. Okay. He started writing his own music. Now, like I said, I had no idea who this person was. I'm not into Fortnite. I'm not this generation. Like, I still listen to Belle Biv DeVoe, okay? Like it dropped last Friday. I'm not into this stuff, and it was like real dark. It sounds kind of boppy and poppy, his music. I'll play some in a little bit. But it's like, if you listen to the words, kids. Oh, Lord, the words. It's like the foreshadowing of this poor girl's demise. Okay. So he meets the little girl Celeste on his Discord server. Now, as an adult, I have gotten myself into some pickles in Discord. Okay. I don't agree with Discord. I don't agree. Like, I use Facebook like the old lady I am. Okay. I use Facebook and I chronologically like post my son. Hi, Rosie. Good to see you, baby. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Good to see you, baby. Caden's playing with his cat. So he meets this Celeste when she is 11 years old. 11 years old. Do you want to know how old Homeboy is at this time? 17. You are a child at 11. You are a child at 11. He meets her when she's 11 and they start getting yeah, no, I do not do well with Discord. I've got myself in all types of pickles. I don't do, like, I've kind of like even backed off from the whole like YouTube thing. I've simplified my life and gotten just my life simple now. I don't do a lot of YouTubes anymore. Just yeah, 11 and 17. Okay. So like, I've dated older men, but I dated older men when I was older, right? Like, I think after you're 25, like, get you a sugar daddy. Don't do what I did, okay? And like, try to be the independent woman. Get you a sugar daddy after 25 and do it right. Yeah, his lyrics are dark. Drew, I love that you know this case. I love it. You can help me out when I don't. So, where was I? Okay, so he meets her on the Discord server at 11. Hi, big chick. Everyone's coming in. Hi, baby. Good to see you. He meets her when she's 11. They're communicating on Discord. They're private messaging. They're doing other things. And he's 17. She's 11. She becomes a runaway February of 2024, which would make her 13. Okay. So even if there no 17-year-old anyone has any business, unless they are your family member, having any contact with an 11-year-old. Like, if I ever found out that my niece was talking to some 17-year-old boy on her phone, heads would roll and the police would be called immediately. I don't care if they haven't hung out. You have no business contacting my niece at 11. Zero. Okay. Zero reasons. So she becomes a runaway at 13. At 13. Okay. They put a missing flyer up for her. They're looking for her again. I think I said this in the beginning, but there's some more people. Her parents are undocumented. Only her mother lives here. She has a sister and a brother, and they are undocumented. Okay, her father lives in a different country. So I can imagine that that's not easy. And they don't speak English. I mean, I can imagine on the West Coast, people speak Spanish a lot more than we do over here. But I digress. So they're looking for her. Now, this is where it gets a little dicey. Okay. So the little girl, they know that she has a boyfriend. The family knows that she has a boyfriend named David. Okay. And that he is older. And that he's famous. So they get a family friend to find out who this David character is. And they email his manager the little girl's missing poster, identifying her real age of 13. And the little girl shows up at the house to her mother's house within 24 hours. Never, the manager never contacted the family friend back, but the little girl showed up on her own to her mother's house within 24 hours. Okay. The girl ends up running away again in March. Then she comes back because there's nowhere to live, right? There's nowhere to go. They're kind of harboring a child, right? And he's not from California yet. So she comes back to her parents' house, and in April of 2024, she goes missing for the last and final time. David's manager got a rental in the Hollywood Hills for $20,000 a month for him and David to live at while he is in his contract of Interscope Records. Our friend Celeste, who ended up dead in his Tesla Frunk, disappeared the same month that they got the rental and was never seen by her family again. Yeah, Yahoo Messenger. I can't. Yeah. I'm Yahoo Messenger old. Yeah. No Discord at that age. No, I don't even do Discord, kids. Like, I know that a lot of us, like, I don't have the emotional, mental, or physical bandwidth in my body to deal with any of that. I just don't anymore. Driving like, hi, Natalie. Good to see you, mama. Okay. So Celeste goes missing in April. The only reason I'm telling you kind of this, like the road to now, is because the things I'm going to show you need to make sense. And if you have any questions, you can ask. Drew K seems to know a lot about this case too. If you guys know, help everybody out. Hi, Sarah Dawn. Good to see you, mama. Good to see you. Okay, so Celeste goes missing for the final time, April of 2024. She would not be 14 until September 7th of 2024. So she's 13 when she's missing. David is either 17 or 18, and his manager, the one who rented the Hollywood Hills home, is much older than that and knows that this girl, Celeste, is 13 because he's a fucking pig, okay? I have no respect for these people. This is what I'm saying. It has Diddy, R. Kelly, Ted Bundy, like it has all the things in this case. So she is missing. Now, apparently, she has been seen from April of 2024 till about July of this year, where she's still 14. She didn't turn 15 until the day before she was found in the Tesla. So she didn't even make it to 15. She was like a month out. She's about a month out from being 15. So there had been sightings of her. People knew her, thought she was, when I show you these videos, people, you're going to be like, there's no way this girl passed off for 19 years old. Like, I've looked the same since 8th grade, but I'm also like 5'8", and I'm like a bigger girl, and I've looked like this since 8th grade. Okay. But like, I had more of a baby face before I was 40. Like, you could tell I was a young girl still. But I've always kind of looked the same since 8th grade. But if you look at me in 8th grade, you have that like round baby face. Your emotional, the way you act, the way everything just seems young. And if I'm around my nephew's girlfriend, okay, even though she's 16, I still know she's fucking 16 by the way she acts, right? Like, nice girl. I like her, right? I like her. I can tell. So I'm gonna show two things. So I'm gonna show something from, I think it's Law and Crime, and I actually put a link into the YouTuber Anna Solves. She did a really good compilation of this, which is really great. So we're going to show that, and I'll do commentary over it. But if you want to go over and sub to Anna Solves, she always has really, really, really good content. This little girl was found in the front trunk of a up-and-coming emo pop star, rapper. He's not a rapper. He does like kind of like grungy music. You'll hear it. You'll hear it. He was made famous. He was made famous on YouTube as a Fortnite player who was playing music in the background. There's a bunch of people coming in, so I'm just kind of trying to. And then he started creating his own music. Interscope Records found him, signed him, and he was actually out on a tour when the little girl was found. So in his Tesla, 150 feet from his fucking the apartment that his manager rented for him so he could harbor a fucking 13-year-old girl. Sorry, I'm gonna try not to swear because I know it's the morning. It's the Lord's Day, and I should probably not do that. Okay, I'm gonna do this.
Remains were returned to her. The investigation into the strange death of a teenage girl whose body was found in a car registered to singer David, it continues. And this comes as the musician just moved out of a property that was raided by police. The young girl's remains were returned to her family, and with still no suspect, no person of interest presented by crime.
Before Jesse continues, I'm just going to let you guys know, even though the little girl was found in his Tesla frunk, 150 feet away from his rented home, he has not been arrested. There is no person of suspicion. He's not charged. This is all allegations. I don't know for certain, but it's not looking good for him. And I hope everybody gets hemmed up for this, because there are, nothing, no suspect. He is not a suspect. She was found in his car, badly decomposed. And he has not been arrested or charged or anything. No one has. And she was found in his Tesla after it was towed to the impound on September 8th. And what is it? It's been 20 days. It's been almost 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, it's time to talk about the latest in the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the teenage girl who was reportedly found dead in the trunk of a 2023 Tesla in a Los Angeles Hollywood tow yard, a car that was registered to 20-year-old musician David, D4vd, real name David Anthony Burke. By the way, we had a typo in our last episode. We said a Cybertruck. That was our mistake. It was actually a Tesla. By the way, if you don't know, D4vd, David, is a very big deal.
That's the scumbag.
Aside from millions and millions of followers online, this is a performer who signed a record deal when he was, 17 years old? He was reportedly paid a $3 million advance with a potential $6 million payday in all. He's been on the Billboard Hot 100. He's opened for SZA. He sat front row at a Paris runway show. He has billions of streams on Spotify. Definitely. He really blew up on social media. That's how he really became famous. But you put that to the side. What do we know right now? We know that Celeste's body was found September 8th, that this was a day after she reportedly would have turned cold. While a cause of death has not been officially released by the LA County Medical Examiner's Office at the time of this recording, it has been reported that her remains were released back to her family. And talking about her remains, reports say that her body was apparently mutilated. And we know that she was found severely decomposed, left inside of this plastic bag.
I just want to state facts, okay? So we don't know that the body was mutilated. She was severely decomposed. She was in a black Tesla in California heat from July to September, wrapped in plastic. So they kind of walked back the whole dismemberment part of it, but she was wrapped in plastic. I'm sorry. They're like, oh, maybe it was an accident. Maybe she climbed in the trunk to wait for David. What? Huh.
In the car, which raises questions about how long she was in that state. It's also not entirely clear when she died, but it's awful. It's awful. And according to KTLA, The medical examiner has stated the cause and manner of death have been deferred, which means the deputy medical examiner completed an examination, but a cause of death has not been determined. The deputy medical examiner is requesting additional testing and or studies in order to make a determination. Due to the ongoing death investigation, the County of Los Angeles Department of Medical Examiner cannot disclose what testing and or studies were requested. Deferred cases can take a few months before a cause of death is determined. And what is so chilling is the lack of answers. There have been no arrests, as this investigation is reportedly being headed up by the Robbery Homicide Division with the Los Angeles Police Department. We know that her body was found in this Tesla after there were those at the yard who smelled a really bad foul odor coming from the car after it was impounded. It was actually towed after it was abandoned for about 5 days in the Hollywood Hills. It was near a rental home where David was staying at. I mentioned there's no arrest, and
so that is also untrue. It was she was actually missing, and the Tesla had been in the neighborhood since the middle of July. And the first time the neighbors called, but like, I guess in that area, Mermaid would know, in that area, you can park on the street. Like here, in my town that I live in currently, there's no street parking. But like, in Boston, you can, like, some streets you park on one side of the street, most streets you can park on both sides. Because of the condensity of the city where they are, you can park there. And so the Tesla had been seen abandoned, and the soot and pollen and dirt that was caked onto this car when it was actually picked up and towed, like you could never have driven it. And it takes a while to get like that. Like when I had surgery, when I had my breast cancer taken care of, my car didn't go anywhere for until I could drive 9 weeks later. And 9 weeks. And it took a long time for my car to be undrivable until I did something about it.
All accounts, David has not been listed as a suspect. He has not been arrested. He has not been formally accused of any wrongdoing. Reporting indicates he has been cooperative. In fact, no suspect or person of interest has been listed. Yeah. He was on tour, by the way, across the country. He was about to go to Europe for some tour dates, but that has been canceled after Celeste's body was found. And significant too, it has been reported that David has moved out of that multi-million-dollar 4-bedroom Hollywood Hills home that he was renting. Right. The New York Post says, by the way, for $20,000 a month, that he broke his lease. And this comes after police had searched that home on September 17th. NBC reporting that law enforcement sources say police were looking for various things, including digital devices that may contain material potentially linking Celeste to the property. TMZ reporting that LAPD detectives left with a computer and several evidence bags. An LAPD spokesperson telling people several items of evidence were recovered and will be analyzed by detectives in the coming days. Investigators are following up on several leads. E! News reporting that law enforcement sources with knowledge of this case and investigation say that electronics and computers were removed. TMZ also reporting that they were looking for blood. More specifically, TMZ's Charles Latibaudiere told Ashley Banfield on News Nation, quote, they were checking drains to see if there's any blood evidence or blood or tissue that was in the drains there. So they did a scouring of this house looking for any evidence. Now, here on Sidebar, we talk a lot about emergencies, but you know what we don't talk about enough is how to prepare so you can face anything with confidence. And I will tell you, fall.
Lord Jesse, hold on here. Morgan and Morgan, kids. Morgan and Morgan.
Today to claim your 75% off. But now I want to talk about Celeste. So reporting indicates that Celeste had been missing since last year, having grown up in Lake Elsinore, California. And if we assume that is where she disappeared from, then that is about 70 to 75 miles away from where her remains were found in that car. She had been reported missing at least 3 times last year, with the New York Post reporting she was last reported missing by her family in April of 2024. She apparently ran away 2 other times per TMZ, and then she disappears. She was in the 7th grade. She was a child. But again, not clear what she was doing before her death or what exactly her connection was to David. See, that part's interesting. In terms of her connection to David, that's strange. See, you have this former teacher at apparently Celeste's former school, Lakeland Village School, who told TMZ that she had met David on social media and believed that she ran away to Hollywood to be with the singer, but that police found her and sent her back. He apparently corroborated that he knows her by showing a picture of himself with her and said that she had been missing since he had been teaching her, that she was frequently not in class, but really didn't know much about her private life. Those online believe that David and Celeste may have had a romantic relationship of some kind, but again,
I'm going to pause this really quick. So I just want to point out that in every picture that her and David have together, her face is blocked. She has like her face blocked, a pocketbook up, or she has big glasses on to kind of like disguise herself because they know that it's wrong. Okay. And she like, aren't teachers mandated reporters? I know that like once like a kid runs away and then comes back, you're just like a habitual runaway. And the police aren't looking for runaways, which is really sad. Like unless it's like an Amber Alert, they're not looking for runaways. And they, especially where the parents didn't speak English, they're not documented. They probably weren't. They were scared with all the ICE stuff going on to go to law enforcement. It's just really sad. It's really fucking sad. And also, I forgot what I was going to say. I got distracted by the, it was Stones. I mean, Rosie. I just called you Stones. So what did that come from, Rosie? Yeah, like I have a niece that's 10 and a half. And when I look at her, she's a baby. She still was like she's best friends with my 5-year-old. Like what? She's so young, a baby. And at this point, so he is like, so she's 13 when she goes missing and he's nearly 18. Or 18. Yeah, exactly. I like even when I hear Caden like pretending to be a YouTuber, like when he plays his Roblox, I'll hear him talking, and I'm like, "Who are you talking to?" And I'll look, and he's just like pretending to be someone like him, right? He'll talk about what he's doing, and because he want like that's what when we were filling out his kindergarten, like, what do you want to be when you're older? He's like, I want to be a YouTuber, and it freaks me out. But all right, let's keep going.
Been officially confirmed by authorities or either Celeste's family or the singer's camp. However, on yesterday's TMZ Live, Harvey Levin said, we've spoken to people in the music business who've partied with David, hung out with David, and there seems to be a consensus that people believe that David and Celeste were boyfriend and girlfriend. TMZ's Charlie Neff commented that people in the industry believed Celeste was actually 19 years old, saying when the news came out that she was a 14-year-old child, they could not believe that because she also presented herself very maturely. They didn't really question it because of the places she was seen at. There have been reports that there is a leaked David song that potentially mentions Celeste, that there is a video of the two of them live streaming together months before she disappeared in 2024. And I will say people are looking into his past songs and performances for any clues. Like, for example, he brought a casket on stage during shows. And in his single Romantic Homicide from back in 2022, he said, I killed you and I didn't even regret it. Now, in a GoFundMe that has been set up on behalf of the Rivas Hernandez family, it says, as many of you know, Celeste Rivas Hernandez has been identified as the body found last week. She was a beloved daughter, sister, cousin, and friend. Her family is heartbroken and devastated by this tragic loss. Any funds you're able to donate are greatly appreciated. Okay, so let me bring on criminal defense attorney William Corman, who is with us here in studio. Good to see you. A lot of people excited for you to come in. Everybody wants to meet you. You're a big fan favorite. Are you surprised there is no arrest? Are you surprised that there has been no identified suspect, no identified person of interest by authorities? And what does it tell you that we're at that point?
I think it's very early still. I think that this is a complicated case. I think that there's a lot of information that needs to be sussed out first by the investigators, by the crime scene analysts and the like. And I think it's simply too early for there to be an arrest. I think an arrest right now would be premature, and that would then be something that defense counsel would jump on.
So when they were just talking about the song Romantic Homicide, okay, listen, I don't believe in coincidence. Okay, I just don't. That's me personally. You can if you'd like. He released that song in 2024 on Celeste's birthday on September 7th. And the music video that he put out for it shows a girl looking a striking resemblance to the young girl Celeste that showed up dead in his trunk. And during the video, it's him blindfolded. I can probably show it to you. I think in the next video, it'll show it. Yeah, he released all, yeah, Drew, she knows it. He released all his shit on her birthday, September 7th, all of it. And it shows someone dead and being dragged and put into the back of a car. And the words of the song are basically like a foreshadowing of what really fucking happened here in this case. And the girl that's in the video looks exactly like Celeste. And he has a video that's like, Celeste, I'm obsessed. I can smell you on my clothes like cigarettes. You're talking about a baby, you freak. Like this. Kids.
Wasn't enough information to arrest. There wasn't enough probable cause to arrest at the time that they did. But I think that everyone needs to be patient. I'm sure an arrest will be forthcoming.
Can you explain what the disadvantage would be for law enforcement and for prosecutors for essentially making that announcement before they're ready to take some sort of action? What would be the problem?
Sure. So in order for an arrest to take place, there needs to be probable cause for the arrest to happen. And I just don't think that they're there yet. If they arrest somebody too soon, then their lawyer can go into court and argue that
wouldn't finding a child in the front trunk of your Tesla be probable cause? Wouldn't it? Active shooter. So she was likely in the car from like the middle of July, because there's no like online footprint from the middle of July until when she was found on September 8th at the impound in the Hollywood area of California. The car was left abandoned for many weeks. It had been moved, I think, a couple of times, but you can move Teslas by themselves. And it was only found 150 yards from his house. Like it was like a half a block, apparently. Steve Fisher Investigates has really good information on this, and we're going to listen to him later on. He's on X, I think, but he has a lot of good information on this case.
there wasn't probable cause for arrest and try to get the case thrown out.
And to be clear, once again, I said it before, I'll say it again. David has not been identified as a suspect. He has not been implicated officially in any wrongdoing. If he has not been arrested, if he has not been identified as a suspect, is it possible right now that authorities and prosecutors are thinking he may not be connected to this? He may not be responsible for Celeste's death, or they might be looking at alternatives there, or they may be trying to see if he has a connection here. I mean, what should we be taking away from that?
I don't think we should take anything away yet.
Okay.
I think what we should take away is that this is a messy, messy crime scene with a lot of unknowns. And I don't think that if I were David, I wouldn't be resting easy by any stretch of the imagination. But if I were the public, I wouldn't be clamoring for them to hurry up and do something. I think these things take time.
What would you advise him if you were representing him right now?
Not to say anything and not to do anything.
So nobody has come forward from either his record label, his I think his manager's name is Josh Marshall from Interscope Records, and nobody has said anything. Nobody. The only thing that was said was he's cooperating with law enforcement. So, yeah. Hi, Wayne. Good to see you, baby. Yeah, I guess. So there are some accounts that some people, I guess, they thought they smelled sewage in the Hollywood Hills. And then it was said that they actually did start smelling it really badly when it was at the tow yard. So I have to go rescue my cat from Caden. I'm gonna let this play.
What does that mean? Because right now he canceled
Yep.
the rest of his tours. He broke the lease, apparently, moved out of that rental property that was searched. Those are significant actions. That says something.
If I were his attorney, what I would advise him to do is lay low, do nothing, don't obstruct the investigation, but we're under no obligation to cooperate.
I think it's interesting when we talk about a high-profile celebrity case and what might be happening with lawyers. We covered the Diddy case extensively.
Yes,
You covered it with us as well. His lawyers, before he was officially arrested and indicted, they were in constant communication with prosecutors. At least they tried to, when it came to what he was doing, his movements, surrendering his passport. Is there a communication happening between his attorneys and authorities? And what does that communication look like?
I would imagine there's some communication, and what it really is you're informing the prosecutors of where your client is, your client's availability. What you don't want is for them to come into your client's house in the middle of the night and arrest them. In a situation like this, I reach out to prosecutors where I have a client who's a suspect. I say, look, you know me, let us know where you need us to be. We will turn ourselves in at any moment, rather than you coming to my client's house or my client's place of business, 10 officers deep and taking down the door.
I'm going to pause this for a second because I have something to say. I forgot to say it before. The LAPD didn't go after him when they found. So they took the car on the 5th of September, and then she was found on the 8th at the tow yard in California. And it was registered. It still had Houston plates because apparently you don't have to change state plates in California. Mermaid can tell us that. So he re-registered his Tesla in Texas where his parents live. So it still had the Texas plates. They called him. It was like, hey, can you come talk to us? You just found a child dead, decomposing in this boy's frunk trunk or whatever the fuck they call it. And when you have time, sir, when you're off your tour and you stop having mock funerals for children. Can you commit at your convenience? Fuck out of here.
Let's cooperate with you. You know what we're going to do. We're going to turn ourselves in if and when it gets to that stage of the game.
If there is some sort of action in this case, what will it look like and what can we expect?
I imagine that the first thing that would happen is there would be an arrest of David. I'm imagining,
or someone else,
or someone else, right? Someone will be arrested in this case, I imagine. And if it is somebody like David, whose attorneys have already been in touch with the prosecution, they'll most likely arrange a time for him to turn himself in. If it's someone else, someone random off the street, someone whose name we don't even know, that person could obviously just be arrested at the spur of the moment.
Isn't there surveillance cameras of someone depositing a body into the car, or they look to see how the car got there, who was driving it? Maybe they don't have all those answers. You would think in the Hollywood Hills there would be some sort of video evidence to document something about that car, no?
I'm sure that there probably is, but again, I caution some patience here, because what the last thing that the folks in LA want to do, LA County is a strange place. California sees high-profile trials all the time. They tend to go a little sideways. They're certainly full of surprises and unexpected details. I think they really want to have all their ducks in a row before they pull the trigger.
Why no cause of death? Why has no cause of death been released? I mentioned before that there needs to be additional testing, but the reports indicate the LA County Medical Examiner's Office won't even say what that testing is. I guess something about these remains are not clear cut. They need to do additional testing, but why not even say what that testing is?
I don't think they want to show their cards yet. For example, and this is just a hypothetical, what if she was pregnant? What if the testing has to do with DNA testing? And they're hoping that they try to find out who the father is of the unborn child. That testing takes some time, and that's certainly not something they want to show their head on right away. Drug testing, things along those lines. Forensic testing does take time.
When do you think we can get an update there?
I don't know. I think that's a tough question to answer. It's something everybody wants, but again, I don't think they're in any rush. If it's David, everyone knows who he is and where he is. I don't think there's a concern that he's going to abscond. I think they're going to take their time because they want to get it right.
Is it unusual to you that we don't have a cause of death right now that's been released, or is that standard?
So I'm just gonna put it out there. Since I heard this, this case, I've been balls deep in it since it started. I always thought that either A, she was pregnant and he was like, this is a huge problem. I'm up and coming in the music industry, and these people are gonna find out that I am R. Kelly, allegedly. And or it was just that he couldn't get rid of her. She was in love with him. She had an engagement ring. Oh, and kids. Do you want to know how, not only by dental records, did they figure out who she was? Because she was so badly decomposed in her tube top, leggings, and jewelry. They both have a tattoo on their index finger that says shh. They have matching tattoos that say shh. No probable cause here. No, nothing to see.
Standard practice.
I think in a case like this, where it isn't something that's blatantly obvious, it's relatively standard practice. Again, they're not going to show all their cards in the beginning.
Do you think there's going to be trouble determining time of death, which can be very important for prosecutors as well?
I think that time of death is going to be tricky in this particular situation, especially because, as far as we know, the body seems to have been there for a significant period of time. I think cause of death is something that's going to be easier to figure out than time of death.
If he was on tour when this body was found, does that hurt the prosecution's case?
When it was found or when it was killed?
Right, when the person was
I
killed,
think
right?
he was
That's the
still a
point. I mean,
resident
when
of
the body was
Texas.
found and he was on tour, leaving a body in a car in a public area that's going to be towed. I've talked about this before. It's a couple
hi,
of things. One,
Sandy.
right, it could be framing. It could be
Morning.
just sloppy,
Mhm.
or there was a plan to do something else, but the car got towed before you could do something. Am I crazy to think about these alternatives?
Or panicking.
Panicking.
Or a third party was involved to get rid of the car, and they panicked, or they got rid of it at their first opportunity. I think that there will be more information forthcoming, without a doubt. A cause of death will be forthcoming. I think we just need to wait and see what that testing is.
Do you think it was wise for him to move out of the property? Do you think he consulted with his lawyers before doing that?
I think that it probably made
Thank
sense
you.
for him to move out of the property for a few reasons. If they were going to execute search warrants on the property, I wouldn't want my client there at the time if my client has the ability to vacate the property. The last thing he needs is for the media to be following cameras through, like in Diddy, and have people there while search warrants being executed.
What do you think is going on with the materials that were reportedly obtained from the home? There's been reporting about computers and electronics, maybe trying to establish whether or not Celeste had a connection to that property. What are they looking for?
So the digital forensic analysts are going through all those materials with a fine-tooth comb. They're seeing what the chains of what the lines of communication were, if any, between Celeste and David. Were there emails? Were there text messages? Were there Instagram photos? Whatever there was that they can use to connect those folks together and create a timeline for the prosecution.
You heard before that TMZ reported they might.
I just thought of something. So with this case, it has been reported that since like when she was 12 or 13, we're going to see it in the next video. But there have been people knowing about this relationship more than just the manager, more than just her family. His Discord knew. And Reddit, you know how Reddit does. Reddit is better than the FBI and CIA put together. Reddit has before they scrubbed all of his accounts of Celeste, they took screenshots. No, he didn't. No, that's another thing too. No one reported. He didn't report his car stolen. He did not report his car stolen. And he's like, oh, I don't know. It's Rozzy. Yeah, I have like a thick Boston accent. Straight out of the what's that movie? The one with Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know. So he never reported his car stolen. The girl had been reported missing. Like I said, back when she originally ran away in February, Valentine's Day of 2024, the missing poster went out, and his manager, Josh Marshall from Interscope Records, allegedly received an email from a concerned family friend showing him the missing poster, showing him everything that he needed to know about her being underage. And she showed up at her family's home 24 hours later. But then he had got the Departed. That's right. Sure, the Departed. But then Josh Marshall got him the Hollywood Hills rental for $20,000 a month, and then poof, Celeste goes missing to be with her lover boy, David, the creep, the old man, taking advantage of children. Oh, and before I forget, a YouTuber, because YouTubers, investigators are often better than mainstream media. One of the YouTubers caught his bodyguard out somewhere, and they were like, "Didn't you know she was 13? You had to have known she was 13. She was a child, blah, blah." You know what his answer was? And this is what's wrong with this case. Okay. Same as Josh, same as everybody else. This is what's wrong. You know what his answer was? "David likes what he likes, man. David likes what he likes, man." What do you mean David likes what he likes? She's someone's baby. You're disgusting, sir. I hope you go down with them. I hope you go down with them.
Be looking for blood as well. Would that be making sense to you?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And then what does that testing look like?
So it depends on where they're looking. I mean, if they're going through a home, they're doing a forensic testing. They're doing almost like we see in the movies. You know, they're getting down on their hands and knees. They're taking swabs from carpets. They're taking swabs from furniture. They're doing exhaustive testing of the materials themselves to see what they can find. They're pulling up drains, hair, and drains for chemicals that can be used to dissolve bodies. It's all gruesome, but that's what they're doing.
Do you think prosecutors are working hand in hand with law enforcement in terms of obtaining this evidence and conducting this investigation?
There's always an interesting relationship between prosecutors and the investigators themselves. Right. Different jurisdictions handle it differently. Oftentimes, prosecutors assist law enforcement in writing search warrants to make sure that the search warrants are relatively watertight, because the last thing you want is a defense attorney to come in and challenge the grounds of the search or challenge the search warrant and perhaps get important evidence thrown out. So it's not unusual for prosecutors to assist investigators in drafting and reviewing those search warrants.
Do they assist also with interviewing witnesses, potential suspects, anything like that?
They can. I think more often than not, the interviews are conducted by actual investigators themselves rather than the prosecutors who subsequently will be handling the case.
It's interesting. And we don't have a definitive connection here between David and Celeste. There's rumors online I talked about. There's what TMZ has reported about it. Is it unusual that law enforcement haven't officially come out and announced whatever connection there is between the two? And by the way, I wonder how much they might be trying to get information from family, from friends, from people online, from
in that video,
which can get complicated
like
when you're
a
dealing
child.
with a celebrity
She looks like
this.
she's
sure. I mean, the last thing they want to do is a rush to judgment, because that's what the defense attorney is going to stand up and say during his or her opening statement, and then again at their closing argument. They're going to say this was a rush to judgment. Before they had all the facts lined up, they already pointed his finger at this particular suspect, be it David or somebody else. So it's not surprising that it's going slow. I think it has to go slow. And it's certainly not surprising they're not talking about any connection between these two, because again, if David didn't do it, you don't want to tar and feather the individual with saying that, you know, he's a highly regarded suspect in a particular case.
And you also have to think about who would have had access to the car if it wasn't David. Real quick,
his phone.
Are they doing a deep dive into Celeste's life, and how can they track her movements and her actions from when she went missing in 2024? How difficult is that? What do you think's going on there?
So I'm sure they're interviewing family. I'm sure they're interviewing friends, and I'm sure they're doing a very deep dive on her sort of digital footprint, as it were, her phones, her social media pages, all those other things, to try to establish a timeline of who she was talking to, when she was talking to, and when those communications stopped.
And her remains being released back to her family now. Is that
in the car? The car
means that they're done with whatever testing is going to be done on those remains. So whatever testing is going to take place has taken place. Or
so I thought this about the Idaho case. Like when they wanted to dispose of the home before the trial, I was like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And they did, and they made like that model. Lots of love to you, Robbie. I'm happy that you're here. They released Celeste's body, so they had to have done whatever they had to do. I guess, you know, she went from like 100 pounds to 71 pounds in the decomposition process. And, you know, I don't know how much of her was left, to not to be gross, but let's be real. But they released his car. So they were like, hey, you want the car back? Kids, why would you give the car back if it's evidence? He never went and got it. It's still in the impound, apparently, from what I heard a couple days ago. He just was like, I'm not coming to get it. Like, why would you want it? Right? Why would you want to go pick up the car that you put allegedly put your toddler girlfriend in? Why would you want to? But they're releasing the car. Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, the Reddit has all the Discord screenshots because people have been trying to tell the LAPD that this guy's a pedo, and they wouldn't listen. They wouldn't listen. And this is the thing. Like, I know, especially with celebrities, there's a lot of crazy people, right? I mean, there's a lot of crazy people everywhere, but with celebrities, you're gonna think that there's just crazed fans, people that don't like him because he's getting successful and stuff. And so you have to like vet the comments that you're getting. But if you like, a couple of people can be wrong, one person can be wrong, but like a lot of people with a missing person, yeah. Hold on a second. All right.
And not to be graphic,
Yeah.
they've taken whatever samples they need in order to test in the future.
William Corman, thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me on X or Instagram. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll see you next time.
Okay. Cadence says hi, y'all. Honey, I swear to God that she was pregnant. They're so okay. So do you guys know that Joseph Scott Morgan guy? He's often on like News Nation, and he has a podcast called Body Bags. He's a forensic person. He does death investigations. He said that it may be that she was, but if that part of her body was decomposed, they wouldn't be able to tell, like, you know, like that hormone level that you continuously get as you're pregnant, you know, with the decomposition process. He says that it could really skew that finding out. And yeah. I mean, people often gravitate. This is a comment that Drew just made. She said, it seems like because she was troubled, she was overlooked and failed by everybody. Yeah, because yes. Yeah, she was failed by everybody, including all of his camp. But you know, too, like they don't care. They don't care. And like, you know, like I said earlier, the law enforcement is not looking for runaways, especially if it's like the second or third time a child has run away. Like if they do something wrong, then they get like stopped by the police or something, and they look them up or whatever, and they're like, oh, this is a runaway, we're going to bring them back to like their group home or, you know, their parents, and figure out, like, that's one thing. Yes, honey. Oh, yes. Absolutely. It's just like discarded, and not for nothing. She was discarded like fucking trash. Yeah, we don't know if she was pregnant, but if there was, like, if her uterus was still intact and stuff, then they can figure out if there was a fetus. But it's not guaranteed because of the rate of I can't even think of the word right now. I just said it. Decomp. Thank you. Money talks. Yeah, these people had money. And, you know, I have a feeling too that so he went on tour, I think, in the late August, and she hasn't been seen since the like end of July, middle of July. And, you know, they could have put her in the Tesla, parked it out front. You know, they can move the Tesla by their phone. And it was only literally, the car was found like down a street and to the left, like around like a hook, whatever, 150 feet away from the house, he could have easily went in his phone and moved the car, right? Because I mean, I don't have a Tesla. I don't know much about them. But I've heard that you can move your car. And if it's only going down like a straight road and taking like one left-hand turn and parking, and it parks itself, it was apparently the neighbors said that it had been ditched at least a month. And then he had gone on tour, and maybe his manager or his bodyguard was like, I'll take care of it. And that was his taking care of it, just leaving it. Like, how did they not think that the smell eventually, you know what I mean, didn't take the plates off? Nothing. They did nothing. Like, wouldn't you like change the plates? They're clearly not like criminals, you know, like you would think that you would think all right, so I'm going to play, this is Anna Solves. I'm going to put the link for this video in the chat. You guys go give her a sub. She's very good on true crime. She has really good videos. She's a really good editor. I'm not an editor, so this is why I do live commentary, but she's really good, and you'd like her content. So we're going to look at this, and you guys are going to be horrified like I was. All right. Oh, shit. All right. Here we go.
Already exposed David's darkest secret long before police ever opened the trunk of his Tesla. Worker complained of a foul stench. LAPD pulled back the lid on an abandoned Tesla and found what looked like a horror movie come to life. Now, fans online had already connected her name to the singer months before the world caught on. And you guys, that stomach-turning TikTok comment is really just the start. If people are connecting the dots right, this story is darker than any night through smell. On September 8th, 2025, workers at a Hollywood tow yard called police after noticing a terrible stench leaking from a Tesla with Texas plates.
That car was a Tesla with Texas plates registered to David. It had been abandoned in the Hollywood Hills and towed.
LAPD officers arrived, popped the trunk, and were hit with a sight they could barely process.
Inside the front of dismembered remains wrapped in a bag. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner identified the body as Celeste Rivas Hernandez.
Celeste had been
She don't
missing
look
from
19.
Riverside County since April 2024. Now, over a year later, she was found
She looks like a
in
baby.
literal pieces, wrapped in plastic inside a vehicle, tied directly to a 20-year-old rising music star, David Anthony Burke, better known as David. The connection couldn't be ignored. Within hours, the LAPD secured a warrant and raided a Hollywood Hills mansion linked to him. Neighbors told reporters the Tesla had been parked outside that home for months, right where this smell first started. TMZ later confirmed the property had been rented by his manager, but David himself had been living there before leaving on tour. LAPD spent more than 12 hours inside, searching for stains, electronics, and any trace of evidence that might connect the singer to Celeste's horrific end. LAPD later confirmed several items of evidence were recovered and will be analyzed by detectives in the coming days. This is an ongoing investigation. They also promised that investigators are following several leads. But that wasn't all. On the same day as the raid, his US tour was suddenly canceled. Days later, the global dates vanished too. It was the first crack in a career that seemed unstoppable. And yet, Celeste's story didn't begin here in that trunk. The deep horror is how young she was when she first crossed paths with David.
I'm looking at Bad Dazzler's card. It depends on whose Discord you're in, but it can be fun. Yeah, I mean, I know a ton of people have Discords. I've been a part of some people's Discords. It's not for me anymore. I found it to be a lot of drama, and just like I don't have the emotional capacity to deal with any of that. So I see out of it. But I think it's for adult. Like it should be for adults. I think, I believe that Discord has an 18 plus rule, but like anyone can make an account and be like, hey, I'm 21 or 18 and it's a 10-year-old girl. And that's what this man was banking on, because Discord, when all of the screenshots were coming out in Reddit, Discord and Twitch made a statement saying, we thought that she was 18. She signed the agreement saying that she was 18. So there is, even though it can be a really fun environment, I know some really good creators that have fun ones. I just don't use it anymore, but it's just not a place for children. And she met him on the Discord server for his Fortnite gaming platform. So that's it. Yeah. Right. But when Twitch and Discord, they're the same owner, they said that you have to sign a thing saying that you're 18, more for liability, because they're like, I don't want nothing. I don't want no Rob. I love that. I want a picture. I'm just saying. All right, start this. I'm gonna go get some more coffee, kids. I'll be listening.
Celeste's family had been searching for her since April 2024. The last time they saw her, she was walking out the door to see a movie with her boyfriend, a boy she called David.
Her brother Matthew says on the day she disappeared, she was on her way to see a movie with her boyfriend, whose name was, say it with me, David.
She was just 13 years old. 13, you guys. And while investigators have never confirmed that this David was the same David whose Tesla would later hold her body, the timeline is impossible to ignore. LPD themselves says her brother remembered the gut punch of that day. He thought she'd be gone for a couple of hours, munching popcorn with a classmate or something, and instead she never came back. And here's where the outrage builds. This wasn't even the first time. According to reports, Celeste briefly went missing in February 2024 before returning home. A pattern was forming. A young girl leaving her family behind for a man whose name matched a star already climbing the charts. Think about it. In April 2024, David had just turned 19. Celeste had just turned 13. That's not a relationship. That's grooming. Even seasoned reporters stress danger of this age gap, and it may be even worse.
They may have actually connected when she was only 11.
That's what makes this story unbearable. Every parent who has ever heard this case feels the same chill. Celeste spent the last years of her life manipulated by a predator. And if this sounds like a one-off coincidence, just wait, because online sleuths dug deeper, and what they found in Discord chats and live stream leaks proves Celeste was deep in David's dark world long before she was found in that Tesla. The digital trail starts way earlier than anyone realized. All the way back in 2022, when Celeste was just 12, David popped into a Discord group and asked,
In the chat, he wrote, "Celeste in here?" To which someone named Celeste replied, "Hi, David."
Authorities noted this exchange sounded familiar, like this wasn't their first interaction. If it really was Celeste Rivas Hernandez, that means the connection began before she even hit middle school a year, and suddenly a demo track leaks online. It's titled Celeste. Nobody thought much of it at the time, but in hindsight, it reads like something else entirely. Then came January 2024. A live stream surfaces with a girl who looks almost exactly like Celeste.
There is this newly surfaced video that apparently shows David and Celeste together on a live stream interacting with fans.
At one point in the video, Celeste is heard telling David, "We need to delete this." David doesn't hesitate. He turns to moderators. "Can we delete all vids?" The stream disappears, deleted in real time, buried before outsiders could piece it together. But the internet never forgets. Not when investigators start digging. This is the part that makes fans sick. The cover-up was visible in plain sight. A leaked track with her name, a chat log with her handle, a live stream where she begged him to erase the evidence. Each moment was ignored and dismissed until she disappeared one last time. But there's one last piece of evidence uncovered online, one that made Celeste's family gag. In February 2024, a TikTok clip starts making the rounds, not from Celeste, but reposted by David himself. The video showed someone chopping up raw meat. On-screen text reads, "Me if I see her talk with other dudes."
So
it plays like a joke, maybe
this while I'm thinking of mermaid, no red flags here, nothing to see. So he has all these like repostings that are so, and he's talking about a child. Okay, he's talking about if I see her talking to other dudes, I'm gonna chop her up. People post shit for a reason, you know. It's like one of those things, like you've been like in a bad breakup and like you're still on social media with the person and they're like writing all like their fucking, you know, I'll be fine messages. I lost my train of thoughts. Shit. Audience watching hearings that have really come down on social media platform and change the code. Yeah. They should. Like being a mother that like my son likes to game, like and every time I saying it earlier, when I hear him talking to his tablet or to his iPad, I'm like, who are you talking to? But he's really just like pretending. Yeah, it makes me so sad. Everybody failed this girl. In that video of them two streaming, someone made a comment about him being like suspect or something like that. And the Celeste girl said the only thing that's suspect is raping children here. And they both start laughing. And she goes, ooh, ha, ha. And he's like, mods, erase everything. So someone must have screen recorded it or downloaded it or whatever. And it lives on, even though they tried to scrub all of his social media. So they were making a joke of it. She made a joke about raping children because she knew that he was 20 and she was 13, 14. So.
Bad joke, but once you know what happened, it's so much worse. Because under that very post, a fan dropped the kind of comment that feels prophetic now.
Waiting for LAPD to get your ass for messing with a 13-year-old girl.
That's February, months before Celeste ever ended up in his trunk. Somebody already knew, or at least they saw the pattern. And instead of this being a warning sign, it just got buried under likes and scrolls. A grown man, nearly 19, reposting violent clips about a girl still in middle school while his fandom jokingly called out for it. And yet, nobody stepped trying to confess through meme the entire time. Look at this. David captioning this selfie, "I miss her." Or his comment under that creepy TikTok video that somehow makes it all worse. Imagine we were two cannibals in the late 80s who randomly met and we fell in love and tried to be better and start a new life together. And then you died and I ate your bones and all. You guys, I'm speechless. There's another Discord post authorities uncovered showing a girl backstage with David and someone commenting, "Who's the girl?" And that's the thing. The internet had been screaming clues for months, maybe years, but when nobody listens, those clues stop being fan theories and start looking like evidence. And nowhere is that more disturbing than in his so-called
He liked what he liked.
By 2025, the warning signs weren't hidden in the comments anymore. They were center stage, dressed up as music videos. His track, One More
Look at
Dance,
this.
dropped with visuals that showed a body being dragged, stuffed into a trunk, and left dead. I'm familiar because that's exactly Celeste when the shirts, singing besides a casket. Theatrics, maybe. Or was it a public rehearsal for something darker? Was he mocking his fans for not calling him out yet? Legal analysts have weighed in on the lyrics that drove his rise, especially romantic homicide. He sings, "In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it."
Forbes reports that Burke had said that those lyrics are figurative, saying, I didn't kill her physically, but in the back of my mind, she died.
That's not just a metaphor anymore. Not when a real 14-year-old was found in the way she was in his car. Every lyric, every prop, every interview is being reread through a new lens. Even merch like his blood spatter tees suddenly.
Yeah. And he also has a video of him after he was his merch is him with red paint on his hands, and he has like blood all over white tees and sneakers. So he had white sneakers on as he's doing this as he's doing his merch, and he's selling these shirts that he's signing and doing the blood spatter. There's a video of him cleaning his sneakers of the blood. Yeah, it's his form. Okay, I don't know if you guys are into hip hop. I have been for ages. There was a oh my god, I think it was Immortal Technique, if I'm not mistaken. Don't hold me to that. But there was a rapper back in the day who him and his boys committed a heinous crime. Heinous. It was group rape and murder of a older lady. That happened. And he confessed in a song. And him and other people went to jail because of it, because it was a real thing that he felt the need to confess in a song. So, I'm not saying that they can use his music against him in court, but listen, this is all alleged. He is not even charged or a named suspect in this, but things are not looking good for David Anthony Burke right now.
Feel less like marketing and more like a confession nobody took seriously until it was too late. And then detectives spotted something impossible to wave away. That tattoo stopped people cold. A teenage girl and a 20-year-old man carrying the exact same ink is not cute. For authorities, that's proof of grooming staring us right in the face. But if you thought that was shocking, wait till you hear what her own middle school teacher revealed. The internet was already buzzing with Discord chats and TikToks, but then a new voice joined the storm. Celeste's former teacher. In a TikTok video recorded by a student, he casually told his class that Celeste had once confided to classmates she met David online, ran away with him, and got pulled back by police. This was months before she disappeared for the TMZ later confirmed the teacher was exaggerating. Celeste's own family said she left home multiple times in 2024, each time linked to a boy named David. Her missing posters from April describe Hello Kitty sandals, the kind of detail only a child would cling to. By May, she was gone again. The teacher admitted he told this story as a cautionary tale about online predators. But in the context of her death, it's no longer just a warning. It reads like a timeline, a roadmap straight to the ending nobody wanted. So was Celeste?
So I was just saying that, Mermaid. Bye. Oh, I thought you were saying bye, Rosie. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're mandated reporters. So why wasn't he reporting that she was truant and not coming to school? She was a 7th grader. She was still in like middle school, right? Like, I don't know. I went from like 1st to 8th grade and then went to high school. David Anthony Burke, aka David. Yes. Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, but you have to have parental consent. There was an active missing persons thing for her. It was never not active. I know that for a fact. But because they don't look for runaways, they didn't run into her. Kids can give a fake name. Apparently, she had a ton of fake IDs to get into bars and clubs when he was performing and stuff. That's just kind of like, rumors. I've never seen one. I wasn't there, but his name is David Anthony Burke. That's right. But I thought that the teacher would have had to report it unless they did report it to the truancy officer at the school. I was on something called CHINS, which is Children Needed Services in high school, is for kids who are truant, and you have to go to court and you get like a probation officer, and they basically They like make sure that you're home at night and stuff. That's in Massachusetts though, and that was many moons ago. Yeah, middle school, right? Unless he tried. So, wouldn't like a school resource officer like go to the home and be like, hey, we haven't seen Celeste in a year. She never started 8th grade. Where is she? You would think. Yeah, exactly, honey. I was that kid. My poor mother. I was that kid, and they will come to your house and make sure that you're home. Yeah, dude. If I was to not call Caden school and report him absent, they are all over you. And he hasn't even been in kindergarten for more than, I don't know, a month, and I already know that. I mean, he hasn't been out, but I was surprised. Yeah, I was surprised. And so he's doing it as like a warning, like, don't trust people online, kids. But like, why weren't you helping saving this girl? This is what I'm saying. So many people failed her. And that Joshua Marshall, I hope he loses his job. Oh, hi, Makings. It's good to see you, Patrick. I hope he loses his job and he doesn't continue to harbor little girls for his clients for money, because he was making a shit ton of money off of David Anthony Burke, D4vd. And he was like, I don't give a shit what he does. Just like his bodyguard that got stopped. Didn't you know that she was 13? Why didn't you stop it? He likes what he likes, man. He likes what he likes, man. Get out of here. Fucking clown shoe.
Death already written long before she stepped into that Tesla, and just how close are investigators to uncovering David's dark motive for ending her life. Here's where the story takes an even turn. While LAPD was bagging evidence from his Hollywood Hills mansion, David's career was exploding. Streams for romance, tragedy-fueled fame meant more clicks, filming his lyrics for hidden meaning. It's the twisted economics of true crime colliding with pop culture. But what good is a rich man if he'll be behind bars forever? Because behind on him, Interscope and UMG froze his promotions. Hollister and Crocs scrubbed his face from their campaigns just days after announcing him as their ambassador. A scheduled Grammy Museum appearance vanished from the site. Even his deluxe Withered album release, hyped on Instagram, never hit streaming. For Celeste's family, watching their part, nobody can shake. That TikTok.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to answer this question. Any news on his parents? So his mother was spotted at a pawn gun shop the other day with a shirt on that says "Send nudes," and she was walking out with a user manual for a automatic weapon. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It can be acceptable, Rob. Absolutely. But this wasn't the case. I think that these kids were like groomed but isn't there like a rule, like a 13-year-old can't go and marry a 25-year-old? It has to be within like 13 and 16. Like age of consent in Massachusetts is 16, I believe. But you have to be between 16 and 18. And then 18 and 21, like there's groupings. So I don't know other states, but you're right. Yeah, classy. Exactly. Oh, hi, hey, that's good to see you, Mama. Yeah. David's family is near Houston, Texas, and the mother was found probably for, protection because she's so scared. You should be scared of your son, lady. That he's probably living with them too. He's probably back in Texas. So if Zach's in the chat, she was spotted at the gun store, and she walked out with a manual for an automatic weapon. And it looked like she was with a bodyguard, but I don't know. I'm speculating. He was just like a big guy with her, and he looked like the guy who said, David, like what you like, man. You like what you like, man. I can't with people. All right. Let's keep going.
Comment from early 2024, buried under a reposted meme about chopping meat, might have been the prophecy that seals his downfall. Everything we've seen so far paints a horrible picture. But the last piece of this puzzle isn't about social media clues or leaked songs. It's about what happens next in a courtroom. Because while fans are already calling this an open and shut case, prosecutors warn it's anything but. And the legal updates on David may be the most haunting twist yet. For all the evidence floating online, one fact remains. There are still 0 charges against David. He isn't under arrest, even with a body rotting in his Tesla and a timeline of red flags that keep growing uglier by the day.
In terms of the urgency to make an arrest, is there a public safety risk here? There doesn't appear to be. Is there a flight risk here? Apparently not.
That's LAPD's official line, but legal experts are blunt about why the brakes are still on. Analyst Brian Buckmeyer told Good Morning America, law enforcement does not yet have enough evidence to confront him, particularly without an autopsy report establishing cause and manner of death. In other words, suspicion isn't enough. Prosecutors need something concrete like a cause of death, a digital footprint that can't be denied, or a confession that isn't hidden in song lyrics.
Right.
Without it, he walks free. And considering how Celeste was found in his trunk, it will be challenging to get a clear cause of death on a coroner's report. Meanwhile, online detectives and Celeste's loved ones are screaming the opposite. They point to everything we've already seen.
Waiting for LAPD to get your ass for messing with a 13-year-old girl.
As one retired detective told Law and Crime,
but certainly there's a lot of publicly available information that seems to point to the involvement of David Burke in the death of this child.
but proving it beyond a reasonable doubt, that's where the system hesitates. For Celeste's family, there's no hesitation. At her vigil in Lake Ellenshore, neighbors called her quiet, shy, just a sweet child. Her brother Matthew said she should have been blowing out candles with friends, not zipped into a coroner's bag. And that's the tragic paradox hanging over this case. A grieving family begging for justice.
You know what, like, really upsets me? What really, really upsets me is nobody cares until it's too late. I'm a big believer in if you see something, say something, right? I'm reading. Yeah, Calypso, she was a child. Okay. The teachers, the parents, and like I know from my own like rebellious teen years that like my mother had like no control over me. And it's not saying anything about her. It's just I was wild. Okay. But like I came home, you know, just like what I wanted to. And like she tried, you know, and like it's not her fault. I was just wild. And like I get that there are wild teens and whatever, but I had help. The state intervened, my school intervened, my mother intervened. Like I had a bunch of people in my corner, like, Amy, get your shit together. No one cared about this girl and where she was and what was happening to her until she was found in the frunk of a Tesla. Not even her school teacher. They're mandated reporters. That just makes me sad, man. Yeah, absolutely. I hover over my son. I'm not like a helicopter parent, but like I'm like I know everything that's going on. I know he's 5, but like I know even I've seen some moms that like their kids run around even like where I'm at. There's like kids that are like 9 watching their 2-year-old brothers and sisters outside until 10 o'clock at night, and the mother like never comes out and I don't know. I digress. Yeah, so Crafty Chris, sorry, not sorry. Don't have much respect for her family either. If you let your 11 child, yes. This is exactly right. If you do not follow up, if you do not have tabs on your kids at 10, 11, 12, 13 years, like this is the shit that happens. And then then shit gets too out of hand. And then all of a sudden your daughter is moving in and staying with a man when she is a child and ends up dead. Because everybody failed her. Everybody. The state of California, her parents failed her, her sister, her brother. Oh, and I forgot to mention the brother had physically met him before. One time. One of the times before she took off for good, she was saying that she was going out with her boyfriend. He was picking her up. And the brother met him when he picked her up for the movies. And she went missing a couple of weeks later or something. Hi, dog mom. It's good to see you, mama. Yeah. Listen, right. You have to. Yeah, you have to. I was a lot. I was a lot to handle. But also, there was a lot of factors. There was a lot of factors, but I also never ran away like this. I never did anything. I had a loving family. I had, I was school and everything. This girl just fell through the cracks. It was also said that this is a rumor. It's just speculation. It's something I read on Reddit that her sister was getting kickbacks from David to not bring her home. So that would tell me that she was trafficking her sister. If it is found in a digital print that he was Venmoing, Cash Apping, whatever, money to the sister to keep her quiet, that's a big problem. That will come out in court. Yeah, I agree. Well, she's undocumented. So at this point, you never know if she's just going to get the heave-ho back to Mexico or Guatemala or wherever they're from. I'm not really sure what flavor they are. Yeah. Yeah. Hippie chick. Yeah. That was like, that was one of the main things. One of the first things I found out on Reddit was that someone said that her sister is the one that was facilitating her to go meet this famous guy, and that in order for her to stay out, that he was giving the sister money. So how old is who? The young girl? The young girl was 14 when she met her demise and was turned 15 the day before she was found decomposed in the frunk of the Tesla in the Hollywood Hills. Yeah, anything for money these days. That's why, like, I don't have anybody near my kid. Like, no, I'll never have a live-in boyfriend. I'll never. No, my mother was like that too. My father died when I was 10. Never had a boyfriend. Never had anybody come in the house because she had daughters and kids in the house, and she was like, I'm not doing that. And I feel similar. You never know. There's predators. I'm 40, but people can still prey on me, right? Kids run around these days, like you said, Amy. Parents seem to believe it's like, yeah, right. Yeah, really sick. All right, I'm gonna continue with this, guys, and then I'm gonna show one more video. I have about 45 minutes left. Going to get my lashes did.
A fandom split between idolization and horror, and a singer whose biggest hit is now being replayed as potential evidence. So was Celeste's death the final consequence of a child being groomed?
All right. So hold on. Let me. No, you can't trust anybody. It's so sad. All right. Let me see here. Here it is. Okay. Here it is. This is, now, if you guys are Xers, I am not. I try to stay away from there. But this guy I do follow, his name, hold on. I'm new here. Okay. His name is Steve Fisher Investigates, and he is SF Investigates. And we are going to be watching Pop Crime TV with Lauren Collin. I'm going to put the link to her channel in the chat. Go and give her a sub. She's also great. Stephen Fisher is wonderful. I read a lot of his shit, and I watch whatever he is on because he is a pro bono PI in California that strictly is searching for runaways and missing children and helps them if he finds them, and is just like a great man. Okay. And we need more people like him because of people like Celeste. Why wasn't he notified all that time ago? Hold on, let me share. All right. So again, this is, hold on. Let me get to where he's at. Okay.
Were you there? I have no idea. Oh, here he goes. There's Steve. Yay. Oh,
sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Oh, I'm so happy to have you. We've all been like, going over theories. But Steve, a theory, I was just looking at your Twitter with the car and the dent in the back. And Phil had said the rear damage on the Tesla could have been from hitting a person. What do you think about that?
I mean, it could.
Investigating and being a private investigator for this case since I want to say, I don't know when she was found, or maybe even before he may have known of her missing child poster, but he has been following up and probably doing more investigating than the LAPD. I don't know. I wasn't there, allegedly, but he's really good. His name is Stephen Fisher, and he is SF Investigates on X.
You can't rule it out. Although I know that there was an interview, and I have not talked to the person, but somebody apparently talked to a neighbor that had just gotten back in town, and they said that they noted that he had seen them both together quite a bit, but also tried to talk to him about the damage, like what happened. So it seems like it's been there maybe for a while, but the car's trashed.
Yeah. And it wasn't reported stolen, I saw. And Phil's saying, well, why would he not get it fixed ASAP? You know what, like, and right, like a guy like that, you've got people that do this stuff for you.
Sure.
It's kind of weird.
It is, and it's expensive cars. I think you paid $102,000 or $104,000 for it. And it's not that old. It's 2023, you know?
Right.
So
right.
I don't know. It's trashed the whole way around though, because they also noted damage on the right side of the vehicle, you know, which was up against the curb. So either he's just a horrible driver, or whoever's been driving is a horrible driver, or I don't know. The main thing to me is like how dirty the car is, because like, listen, living in LA, I mean, that can happen. And what I originally thought was it was probably the sprinklers from the, because that house that he's parked by has a ton of vegetation, and maybe it was the sprinklers. But the thing is, it's on the other side of the vehicle too. So I think that car has been there a long time, because to get that much buildup on the windshield, it takes a while, you know?
Yeah.
And we haven't had rain.
Totally. Go ahead.
And we haven't had rain here, so it's not from like a rainstorm, you know?
Okay. Do you know anything factual about the quote unquote cameras being turned off in the Tesla?
No, no, I haven't heard anything about that. I mean, obviously that Tesla's got a lot of cameras, but if it's been sitting there a long time, I don't know. And I don't know the answer to this, but I don't know how long it'll maintain a charge while it's just sitting, you know?
3 days.
I know that they do become a brick after a certain, amount of time. And then once you let that happen, it can be a real problem. But, who knows how long it's been sitting there, if it'll maintain whatever charge it had,
Yeah, I just Googled that. I just said, how long does a Tesla battery die if it's full after sitting dormant? If it's left unplugged, a fully charged battery can drain to empty in as little as 2 to 3 months. Okay. So it was most likely pretty full, I guess, because it's probably a
Yeah, I mean, if it was full, I mean, with a car that's not maintained like that, I guess you could argue, you know, it seems like it was being parked on the street even when it was by his house and not in the garage. So it probably wasn't plugged in after every use like a lot of people do. You know, I was at the house the other day and there was other vehicles in the garage. So it looked like another Tesla to me. Although, you know, that could have been the manager's car. Who knows? It could have been another one of his, but I don't think this one was charged, you know, daily.
Oh,
but who
and
knows,
I'd
it might
also
have
like
been,
to point out that this house that the manager had rented in the Hollywood Hills had a 3-car garage, and you don't put your $104,000 Tesla in the garage, sir. You put it on the street while you're on tour. Wouldn't, like, okay, it's one thing if the Tesla is your daily car and you are like, oh, it's like too hard to get in and out of my street, like whatever. But if you're going to be away for 6 weeks, wouldn't that be the time you'd pull your Tesla into your 3-car garage? There was, yes. And there was a red Tesla found in one of the garage ports. They don't know if it was the owner's Tesla, the manager's Tesla, but the Tesla that Celeste was found in was registered to David with Texas plates. It was not the manager's car. It was his.
Did you see them moving stuff out of the house that was reported? I think it was by the Daily Mail that they were just moving out. I mean, or they said they broke their lease, but did you see any boxes or anything like that?
Yeah, I saw a little bit, you know, and I didn't spend a lot of time there. I live in the area. So it's, I saw, I did see somebody coming out of the house and the garage door. They were actually moving another vehicle out of the garage, which is the red one. At first I thought it was parked. It was backed in, so it was like the nose pointing out. At first, I thought it looked like a Porsche for them, and they pulled it out. I'm pretty sure it was a Tesla.
Okay, yeah. Ashley says the red Tesla was registered to Josh Marshall.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I am curious to know your thoughts on there was an interview done on Banfield with someone from TMZ last night, and they were discussing the fact that David's quote unquote friends had seen Celeste and David out together, appearing as a couple, but then she seemed to contradict herself a bit and say, well, you know, we never saw them, or the friends said they never saw them kissing, showing any type of PDA, you know, whatever. I guess I'm just confused. Isn't that a little just contradicting? If they're a couple, how do you know they're a couple if they're just standing side by side? I don't quite understand how you come to that conclusion if they've never kissed, they've never, just because they're a boy and girl.
Bitch,
I don't know.
vibes.
Well, so let's say they were just friends. I mean, the fact is, I think it's going to be very hard for him to say that he did not know that she was a missing person. You know, from what I understand, from what I've heard, is that the first time she was found, she was found there, and then the second time she came home on her own. I know somebody mermaid that wrote an email to Josh and people very close to Josh saying she's there, she's a missing person, you know, and literally the next day she showed up. She came back by herself. So he can't say he didn't know. Now, even let's say there was nothing sexual going on or whatever, she's still a 12 or 13-year-old, and you can't keep her from her family. You can't harbor her. So it's still a crime.
He knew she was there. She was there for over a year.
There was something more going on.
Months.
Because I have a little common sense. Yeah, I think probably. Can I prove that? Absolutely not. But I think what can be proven is that there's probably a report out there that from when she was picked up, I don't know if it was Lake Elsinore or if it was LAPD that actually picked her up in the Hollywood Hills, but she was picked up there, and there will be a report on that. Now, she's a minor, so that will be sealed from us, but law enforcement has access to it, and so does prosecutors, and it's going to be really hard for them to get away from the harboring, knowing she was missing, and that,
Drew.
you know, it's a serious crime. They're keeping her out of school, all types of things, and the you know, it's not just David. Josh is going to have a huge problem here as this Interscope, I think.
I mean,
I'm going to
I had said
pause it
just
for
before
some
you got on.
commentary. So they're saying that Josh knew, like we were talking about, he was sent an email. So okay, all of this is alleged because David has not been brought up on any charges. He has not a person of interest, nothing, even though she was found in his frunk of the Tesla 100 yards from his manager's rented home that him and Josh Marshall from Interscope Records lived in for 18 months, starting the month that Celeste went missing from her family's home for good. And she was found dead 150 yards from the house in David Anthony Burke, David D4vd Tesla, decomposing in the hot California sun. So nothing to see here. You know, they don't, we have to say allegedly because it's not anything. But if it is proven that her DNA was in that house at all, Josh is responsible for that house because he is on that lease that he ended up breaking a couple of days after Celeste was found, by the way. The owner was like, I want you out. And the moving trucks came and everybody moved out. Right. So he would have hopefully charges brought up on him if it is proven that she had been living there for 18 months. Apparently, allegedly, the neighbors had seen Celeste coming in and out of the house with David and Josh. So there's that. And I don't know. I'm just going to go on a limb here and say that everybody in the Hollywood Hills has security cameras. And even if Josh, who the owner of the rental property, said that Josh had access to the security cameras, and for privacy reasons, because often celebrities live up there and rent and whatever, that he had access to the house's security cameras, so he could have turned them off so that there was no trace to see who was coming in and out of the property. Alleged. This was what the well, it's not alleged because I think the owner of the house made a statement. And it said, no, like whoever rents the property has access to the security cameras and they can turn them off whenever they want so that they can have privacy or whatever. And I find that really suspicious. I don't know. I think that should not be a thing. I think that the owner of the home, for liability reasons, should have access to the cameras, but who am I? But everybody else, like neighbors and everybody, they've got to have security cameras in their house that could show something, right? And the Tesla, I heard, yeah, Footy, exactly. He was his facilitator and getting money. He was getting kickbacks from him. Like he's like, this kid's a cash cow. I'm making a shit ton of money off of him. I don't give a shit what he does. Is what it was. It was turning a blind eye. And you don't know. This girl was young, impressionable. They could be like, she could be everybody's little thing, right? I mean, yeah, exactly. Exactly, honey. Where was her dad? Her dad is, like I was saying before, they're undocumented. The father was living in a different country. Not sure which southern border country, but he was not living in the United States. Only the mother, brother, and sister were living in Elsinore. I don't know. I think that's what it's called. So them three were living and they didn't speak English. The mother wasn't documented. And I think that she was scared, right? And how are you going to, the thing is, I can imagine that the police officers have Spanish speaking officers that can, so I don't buy that whole thing. That's what people are saying. They're like, oh, give them a break. They didn't speak English. But I'm going to guarantee that there are a ton of Spanish speaking officers in California that could have helped her. I understand she's undocumented, but like, do you want to go back to your country or do you want to find your daughter? Are you saving yourself or you're saving your daughter? I'd pick K. I don't know. I'd pick K, but that's just me. Let's keep going.
I guess I know that he's making more money than ever with his streams right now. Very, very successful. We all are very morbidly curious, I guess. Could this be the one reason that they're not dropping him from Interscope? Because that's me. And that, I mean, I'd be like, sorry, we don't know him.
Well, so I think the problem they have, obviously they have clauses in their contracts,
Right.
you know, moral clauses so they can be dropped if something like that.
Yeah.
But you know, these managers and you know, I've listened, you know, growing up here, I know people that for a long time back, but that have been in this industry and that, you know, almost that same type of, you know, young blowing up, you know, situation. These managers know every single thing about these people's lives. They're literally like,
they do. They manage their
these young
lives.
artists, they're on the phone with them all day long. I need this done, I need this done to get this happen. You know, it's like a manager, a therapist, and an assistant, all kind of wrapped in one. Listen, they know everything. And Celeste was not exactly a secret. Obviously, we know there's a lot of people that
Good to see
knew
you, babe.
about her. There's a lot of people that knew she was underage, you know, and there's people that were
Of course,
in the
of
Discord
course.
saying, hey, what about the missing girl from Lake Elsinore? When are you going to, you know, that's going to be a problem. And Josh didn't have a problem getting away from that because she was in that house and, you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, correct. We know she was in the house. People saw her. Witnesses saw her go in the house. I'm assuming camera footage collected that as well. Possibly Tesla footage, because I'm sure she drove in the car with him. If she's seen with him here, seen with him there. Also, there's got to be security footage around LA, around the Hollywood Hills. They're probably scouring through as well. I thought of all this, but also I hate to... You know, I was on a show the other night and one of the journalists really, he came down on the family. And, you know, I think there will be a time to come down on the, right now, I feel horrible for them. I feel so bad for what they're going through, but there was something that struck me when her brother reactivated her Instagram, which by the way, was something like,
sorry about that.
No, you're so popular. It was something like Blunt Lover. And I think she made that when she was 12, which is so sad and so concerning. And God, I don't want my kids to grow up. Sorry. So he said in his stories, okay, he wrote, "We lost our girl." Instead of maybe talking about how much they miss her, how horrible this is there, but you know, he wrote, "We did everything we could." Flyers, TikTok, Facebook, even our family in Mexico searched for her.
Okay, so Mexico. Okay.
I on that to be just a little bit like, oh, let me prove that we did stuff type of thing, which I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming them.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be one of my first phrases, I guess, to the public. Like, look what we did.
I agree.
We put up flyers. So I was a little bothered by that, I guess, because he was the one that also said she was supposed to go meet David for a movie, I guess. And I'm not judging anyone. Everyone's parenting style is different. I know my parents, if I was 12 or 13, they're driving me places. They're not letting me get in the car with anyone who can drive unless it's an older sister. But I mean, tell me your thoughts on that. Have you spoken with her family, with her brother or anything? Sorry, that was a long wind up.
No, I have not spoken directly to the family, but I have spoken to people that know them well and people that were involved in that, looking for her the first time. And I'll say as you know, the only thing I do is missing person cases. That's it. And a large percentage of that is runaways. And I'll tell you that it becomes CPS and the system are worthless as far as I'm concerned. So these families, you know, when they become habitual runaways, which I do not believe in like law enforcement does. After they've run away once, they're habitual runaway, write them off. They're, you know, just hope for the best. I don't think that is the way to do it. But I also see these families with like, what do we do? They just keep, how do I can't keep them on a leash. And, there does become a point sometimes where the family's like, okay, thank God they're safe where they are right now. Like, I develop maybe a solution and try and get help. And these are families sometimes that have means to do that. And now have a family that, with what's going on in Los Angeles right now with ICE and everything, that might not be a fully documented family.
My little brother.
They don't want to have contact with law enforcement.
Yeah.
And I think that that's part of the thing. I don't think the father's even in the country. And I think the mother is not fully documented. And I think it's scaring them to death. And like, okay, we got to interact with law enforcement, but if we do, are we just going to be picked up and deported? And I think, so I think that comes into it. But then also, I think that what they're probably trying to push back, and I have not talked to them, the survey knows, but I'm just guessing. I think they're also trying to push back against, you guys like sold her into this. I think they're trying to say we were looking for her, which it appears the first time they were, from what I've heard.
The first time they were
involved with that kind of going door to door effort, and the initial they did send me like the initial missing persons flyers the first time, which had like the mom and dad or the mom's cell phone number on it. So they were looking. I'm not so sure that was the case the last time, which has been going a long time. I do think that there's probably a good idea where she was at, and
they knew
there's going to be
they knew where she was
about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's a really good point. Her family wasn't documented. That makes things very tough. I know that there were reports of her sister who went into a local liquor store because the owner had seen Celeste with a backpack as well. And now when I had started the stream and we were waiting on you, I pulled up the alleged picture of her at a concert. One of his last concerts in August of 2025.
It was not her. It was the girl that looks like her.
Yeah. I mean, it does look just like her. I don't know if you think that as well. I also was just thinking, if that is her, why do you think her digital footprint hadn't really been seen since July of 2025?
Right, because it wasn't her.
I don't think it's her. Because what a couple people that live in that
think it's her. Sorry.
I don't think it's her, no. The brother, whoever she's with up there is a fairly tall, good-sized guy, and she's not super short compared to him. From what I've heard from the people that live in that neighborhood that have talked to me, have said that missing persons flyer on her that says she was 5'2" and 120 pounds, they're like, that's wildly wrong. She is at most 5'1" and not more than 100 pounds ever. So
the owner did, Drew. The owner released it. He gave it to the sister.
Because David's not a tall guy. He's pretty short. And I saw a picture the other day of them like going down like stairs, and it's from the back, and she's way shorter than him. And I think he's only like 5'4". I could be wrong about that, but I don't think that girl is her. I also don't think that. I think she would have had a problem traveling, even if you have a fake ID, as you know, you're not in California, I guess, but in California, it's now mandatory to have a real ID or whatever they call it. The new very enhanced ones. So I don't think it's her. I don't think she could get away with a fake ID as far as TSA goes. Now, if they're flying private, I get it, but I don't think they didn't fly private there. So I don't believe that's her. Plus, when I got the images yesterday from the parking enforcement officer, or the ones that the parking enforcement officer took when he was ticketing the car, that car has been there a while. That car's been sitting there a while. I mean, the windshield has just dirt just caked on it, and it takes a while to get like that. And she's in the car.
You think it was longer than the original August date? You think that that's just when a neighbor happened to see it or notice it?
From what I've been told, the people are very close to the family. Last time a family member knew of, had any contact, because I do think there was contact over the last year. I don't think she's been a missing person. It was July. I think she could have been there since July. I was told.
But this is the thing. This is my hangout. Am I muted? No. Okay. This is my thing. If you knew that your little daughter, where she was, I would have gone and pulled her ass by the hair. I like if my little girl was missing from 13 and I had any, I don't care if I was undocumented, okay? If I knew where she was and who she was with and the age of this person, like even if it wasn't the mother, the brother speaks English, the sister speaks English, like if you're in the sister when she first went missing originally where the cam footage came from, she went to that liquor store or the bodega on the corner, and the guy noticed Celeste and was like, oh yeah, she was just in here, and gave her that footage. And then the guy gave it to TMZ probably for money. Wouldn't you have gone to at least like try to collect her, like put her in a program? Juvie, like, does California have juvie services? I know that it's not like ideal, but like get her some type of help. Like something that this is why the whole sister taking money from David to keep her quiet and not come and get her is starting to make sense. Everything's alleged. It's all speculation station here, people. But like, yeah, send her to Mexico. Exactly. It's probably safer. It would have been safer. It would have been safer. That's what I'm saying about her mother too. Like, you're worried about getting sent back to Mexico. I would have chose my daughter and moved back. Yeah, exactly, Footy. Exactly. Oh my God. All right.
In that neighborhood, I was told that car had been there well over a month in that same spot. It had been moved around a few times, like in May and stuff, but it had been in that spot where it was towed from for more than a month.
Okay. I mean,
and you know, living here, like I can tell you that street parking is a nightmare in Los Angeles, right? Those streets happen to be, there's no restriction parking. You can park on those streets unless you abandon a vehicle, and I can tell you, you can't. There's cars along that street all day and all night parked, so they're not going to just tow it based on, hey, you know, a phone call like there's a car out here, I want to get towed. It has to, you know, the reason it was towed is because it appeared abandoned. There was you know, the buildup of the dirt. There was you know, the tires. You noted the tires were messed up, and it had been in some sort of wreck. So it's not easy to get cars towed here, I can tell you that. And so it wasn't like they called on the 26th because it showed up on the 26th. That car had been there a while.
Oh my God, sorry. Thank you. Do you guys remember the Crumleys? They were the parents who were charged and I believe found guilty for buying their mentally ill son, who was crying out for help, a gun and ammunition, and he went and shot up his school. So he was found guilty, put in prison for the rest of his life. And then the parents were also held accountable for knowing that their son had mental illness and had homicidal like thoughts and suicidal thoughts. So they were prosecuted and found guilty for fucking neglect and everything, because that's exactly what they did. They were placating their child and buying this poor kid who was screaming for help. And you're going to tell me if kids are running away from their homes that you can come from the best home. It could be mental illness, it could be addiction, it could be a ton of things, but it's screaming for help. These kids are screaming. Yeah, they're still in jail. Yep, that's right. I'm glad that they are.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, it's just been there a long time before the 26th, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and Bob, obviously he brings up this point. David has lawyers, no way he's talking.
Hey, Joe Bethel.
I mean, I had just posted this earlier today on I think it was on Twitter. So David, his father, he works as a litigation support manager. And that doesn't give him a law degree, but he oversees operational support for legal teams, specializing in
good to
online
see you,
discovery
Joe.
and just document management and stuff. And so that kind of led me to believe that, his dad is advising him right now, like, shut up. I will put you in touch with the best people.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why maybe we haven't seen a statement from him about, anything at this point. But something else, it's like usually when you've got a case like this that's so mysterious, the LAPD or law enforcement is begging the public to help. They're always like, if you have any information, if you have this. But no, they're not asking anything of us. But we
they don't need it here.
Okay.
Obviously, I mean that's just what they don't need it. They're not asking for it because they've got a ton of stuff, and I just think it's a matter of waiting for the toxicology to come back. I do think that this means that it wasn't anything that they could determine the manner of death right away because they couldn't determine the cause. Meaning, if there had been, it could still be deferred for final classification. But if there was like a gunshot wound or something, they would still put it as a fact. They would still list it right now on the website as a factor. So there was a gunshot wound, but it's still, pending to see if there's other factors involved too. The fact that there's nothing means that this is probably going to come down to it's probably going to come down to toxicology. It's just, I think
bad
there's no
dazzler.
obvious,
That's true.
Like gunshot wounds or anything like that. Now, as far as what defense attorney are saying, I 100% agree. He's got he's a lawyer. He's got great lawyers, right? And nobody's talking. However, as a non-lawyer, just looking at this and thinking about a 20-year-old kid that had a career that was really taking off, if it was me and I truly had nothing to do with this, and it's like, man, I let somebody else have the car and something happened with her or whatever, I would be like, I don't, just to save myself from not going to prison, which I'm not going to do because I have this proving I'm innocent, I've got to make a statement and be for the court of public opinion, because even if he's found not guilty right now, his career is over now because he hasn't made a statement. I mean, the fact that he hasn't come out and said, listen, I loved her. I can't believe she's deceased. I promise you everything is going to get worked out.
Because he would have to admit to being a pedophile.
14, right? He can't say I loved her. And right?
I think he has to acknowledge in some way that he or just at least say, I know that how this looks. She was found in my trunk, but I promise you, everybody, just be patient. Like, I promise you, I'm not allowed to talk right now. But he has said nothing. And so what they've done is, whoever told him that, as far as I'm concerned, torpedoed his career too. And so if you're truly innocent, and I know he's not truly innocent as far as the grooming and stuff goes, but if you're trying to mitigate that, the silence, he's blown up his whole life. He really has. I mean, it's just, but he can be 100% innocent right now, and that she was just a friend and the whole thing, but he's ruined his career because he hasn't said a word. And also, it's just the fact that he knew before any of us. Like, I remember when this car was found on the 8th, I happened to have the news on the background as I was working, and it was like breaking news. A car has been found at Hollywood Tow with a body, and it's not the first time this has happened in Hollywood Tow, right? So I turned around and I watched it, and I took interest in it because I have a missing person case going on here of a missing female, and we were like,
true bad dazzler.
Could this be her? So I started making a lot of calls, and this is before we knew the identity of the person, and but the thing is, they did put out certain details the next day about how she appeared as far as the dark wavy hair and what she was wearing, and then the following day they put out more information like the tattoo stuff.
In a minute, yeah.
Listen, as soon as that body's found in her car, registered to him, they're calling, being like, "Yo, body was found in your car. Can you explain this?" He knew it was Celeste. Listen, he knew, and the fact that he went on with his tour is the optics of that are really, really bad.
Really bad.
Because
but that's the question. How do you, even if like we said the other day, if she OD'd, panicked.
Yeah.
He shoved her. He would be dumb enough to shove this poor girl in his car and then leave and go on tour. And
I think this is just my opinion. I think because I know everybody's talking about that, how could you be that dumb? What I think happened is I think you get to a level of when you're in that industry or any Hollywood industry, you have so many yes people around you. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, we can do it. Everybody's just like yes, yes, yes. And I think he thought he could have thought, okay, it's in the car, move the car over there, create a little distance, because psychologically, that's what people do. They just want to distance themselves from that, even if it's just to give them time to think. And I think he thought he could get one of his people to move that car, get rid of that car, dump it in a reservoir, do something, get rid of it. And I think everybody was like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not touching it. And
I agree, Chris.
And nobody would do it. And then he's just like, what do you do? Just leave it there and be like, just pretend like it does.
And I truly believe that the reason why he didn't leave his car in the garage was because he knew of the smell and it would have penetrated the house. So he was like, let me just go park it down the street and I'll deal with it when I get home. Because he's an idiot, allegedly. Oh.
Trying, outside out of mind. I think it just came down to he couldn't find anybody to do it, which means there's a lot of people out there that know that he was asking them to do it. I don't think it was meant to be left there. I just think everybody was like, listen, I'll do a lot for him. I'm not doing that though, and I think he probably overestimated what people would do for him.
Yeah, I have definitely thought about that as well. I also keep going back to if we're even talking about a quote OD, right? We don't know if we are. Her handle was Blunt Lover. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming they smoked marijuana together. Maybe they ate marijuana together, edibles, whatever. Fine. What other drugs could have been involved? Psychedelic drugs. Did he do something while he was on drugs? I just, I just cannot.
That's not illegal.
I can't figure this out, Steve.
Legal defense.
I feel like everyone's going to be so sick of me guessing and talking about it, but I think I'm doing this because I can't figure out why they have not apprehended him and given a press conference, especially.
Not for nothing. You're not going, if someone accidentally ODs in your home, you're not going to wrap them up in plastic and put them in the trunk and then leave on tour. You're just, that's just never going to happen. I would be shocked if that was the case. And not for nothing, how are they going to tell if there was an accidental OD if the body is so badly decomposed? I mean, they'll be able to tell what drugs were in her system, but not the quantifying levels of it. So you're not going to have a little girl accidentally OD in your home and you wrap her up in plastic and put her in the trunk. I don't believe that. Not for a second, not even like a little bit.
People in LA who might be like, what's been going on here? What the hell is going down in the Hollywood Hills?
So if they jam them up, if they go ahead and arrest them, they've got 3 days to arraign them. They got to drop charges. And if they don't, then they got to cut them loose again. Then although they still can charge him, it's not a great optics there either. So what they can do is keep an eye. I guarantee he's under some form of surveillance. I guarantee, and listen, his attorneys are telling him, don't do anything stupid. I think the biggest risk here, if he is guilty, is that he does something to himself, not leave the country or something. I think the marshals would pick him off, but I do think LAPD, you got to give them a little time, because
that is Celeste right there.
Then they're under a 72-hour clock too, and it's not just them. They're in constant contact with the DA now. The DA is involved in this investigation. It's really the DA's decision. It's when the DA says, "Okay, we feel we have enough now." That because even though they've You might be able to show probable cause and they get back. The thing is that
I
you
have
got to
it.
turn over all that discovery pretty quickly to his team. And, then listen, he's got great attorneys, right? There's going to be stuff they try to make exclusionary. There's stuff that are going to try and get knocked out. I
think she was Patrick.
So
I do. I truly believe that.
I think they will also want to know the entire story. I think they're trying to get people to flip on him and get them, on their side. And that does take a little time because it's not just law enforcement. It's also the prosecutors. Right now, I think the prosecutors are in much more control than law enforcement. The prosecutors are telling law enforcement what they need for evidence, what they want, witness statement. And they're probably involved in the interviews and whatnot. So, but
yeah. So then, Steve, what would you say? I guess let's say that the tox comes back and it's an OD, right?
Yeah.
It's an OD. Would you surmise that David could be charged with obstruction and possibly like a statutory charge because she's a minor?
I think the statutory charge might be hard. It might be really hard to have actual proof that they had a sexual relationship, right? But
no, she was pregnant.
Definitely harboring, contributing to delinquency of abuse of a corpse. There's a lot of stuff that they can throw at him. However, most of these are not felonies. I mean, abuse of a corpse a lot of times isn't even a felony, to be honest with you. So, but there's, and then also, did he, is the FBI involved here because of possible, did he give a statement, if he lied to the FBI, that, lying to the FBI itself is a crime. All right. So, now he lawyered up pretty quick. So most likely he's not giving any statements anyways. When he says cooperation, that probably just means he took their initial call.
And
yes, there's a lot of other charges that can be thrown at him, but none that I can tell you because of all, the attention around this case and people that truly want justice for her, it's not going to satisfy anybody if it's anything less than, like a homicide charge. But listen, there is a chance she OD'd. I've heard, and I don't have proof of this, but I heard from people very close to her family that when she came back the first time, she was in rough shape, and she was involved in her drugs and marijuana.
What, you heard that from the family,
people in Lake Elsinore that are close to the family and that know her, and that she was in that, she was doing harder stuff now, which I was kind of surprised to hear, because I'll be honest with you, I've watched a lot of his interviews, so he does not appear like a hard drug person. He seems pretty well spoken, and even after his concerts, he's sober and he's talking. But that doesn't mean that she didn't have demons, and so she could have been partying with somebody in his entourage. And listen, they've also told me that, what I think I told you earlier is that she's a lot smaller than the poster says. So 100-pound girl to OD does not take a lot,
Right. Right. I mean, I just look at her. She's so cute. She's literally, she looks like a 12 or 13-year-old. And this is also why I can't really get my head. And again, maybe I'm old, but she's bopping around the club.
Wrong.
I'm not.
It's wrong. It's sick.
Yeah.
It's gross. And it's also, to me, just as gross that all these people in his entourage and in his world were like, hey, he's famous, so we'll turn a blind eye. You can't do that. This girl should have been in her 7th or 8th grade classes, not on tour or living at his house. And everybody that knew that is just as responsible, as far as I'm concerned, as he is. Like, if you run across a child in this situation, you need to call authorities, even if you do it anonymously, and be like, listen, there's like a 12 or 13-year-old that's hanging out in this this musician's mansion up at all hours of the night. And this, I mean, she's not an object, she's not a toy, she's not their possession,
Well, and so, going off this, Bob, I don't want to get anyone, upset with me again, because I really am not trying to blame the parents. I just question a lot of things, but I'm not in their position. If they feel uncomfortable because they feel like they will be taken out of this country, that's something I don't know. But what I have to wonder again.
And it's going to look bad, but I also think there's, I don't know. You know, you can't justify it. I get the frustration, and I know it's now the worst has happened. So it's like, oh my God, I made the wrong decision.
Yeah. No,
it's just there's a lot of blame to go around, but the one person that should not be blamed is Celeste, because she's not of age to consent. So that means that she's not of age to make these these decisions.
At the end of the day, people are like, oh, like, you know, she was a willing participant and blah, blah. Regardless, okay, the worst did happen. She found out that she is deceased. But somebody's being held accountable for her life. Okay? And regardless of whether he murked her or not, he was a predator. A predator.
Mom, can you call Fina girl?
She's at dance. Right. Well, honey, there's rumors that that the sister was getting paid to not come get her by David, allegedly. What? No.
Through and run. And listen, yeah, it's going to look great. Go out with some rich singer, live in his mansion, you know, think you're in love. That's why she's not of age to consent, because, you know, she doesn't have the ability to take all those factors. So I hate to see any victim shaming going on with her, because I think that she was, you know, very impressionable. And
I haven't seen any of that for her. Nothing. For her. Yeah.
Not a 15-year-old. She was never, ever, ever, ever alive at 15. She was not.
No.
The car was found on the 8th. It was towed on the 5th. She turned 15 on the 7th. She turned 15 in death. She was only alive at 14. And from what it appears, he was around her from 11, even possibly even 10.
Can you imagine that?
So this is a tiny child. Like what he. Even if you just want to be friends with her, which I don't like, why? Why?
No, I'm sorry.
You have nothing in common.
Again, I'm thinking of my 9-year-old daughter when she's 12. Whatever.
Listen, you got nothing in common. When you are 17, 18 years old, 16 years old, you have nothing in common with a 10-year-old. You should want to love them like a child, like your own. She's a fucking baby. She was a baby. She was a baby. What's that? She was a baby. So, all right, guys, I have to go. So, my girlfriend is a lash artist. She owns some bougie lash place, and I'm gonna go be a lash model for her new technique. And I need to get to Boston by 12:15. So I need to go. It was awesome hanging out with you. We're going to continue to follow this case. If there is anything that pops up this week, I am going to go live. So make sure you have all your notifications on. Make sure that you are subscribed to Unsolved with Amy Boston, because YouTube just unsubscribes people. So, and I will be here back next Sunday. And we will continue this story because I have way more information, and I'm sure way more information is going to come out this week. Oh, my friends, but we never hung out. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for all my mods. Thank you for joining. We are here every Sunday at 10 a.m. I usually go for about 2.5 hours, and we do unsolved cases, or we'll continue this case because I'm fascinated and my heart just breaks for Celeste. And I'm not even going to say I feel like badly for her family, because I think her family failed her too. That's just my opinion. All of this is alleged. David, D4vd, has not even been charged with anything. So we don't know that it's him. Yeah, if you could leave comments, like the stream, do all the YouTubey things, I would absolutely love that. And I will see you again. Make sure your notifications are on just in case something pops off this week. Okay, bye guys.